In total, the Tillamook fires burned over 400,000 acres, and until recently represented the largest forest fire in the state's history. After the Tillamook fire, the affected cities, counties, and communities joined with the state of Oregon to undertake what became the largest and most successful rehabilitation of a burned landscape anywhere in the country. The state sold millions of dollars worth of bonds to facilitate this huge undertaking. The bonds were secured by the county's agreement to dedicate a percentage of their revenue from the salvaged timber for repayment. No federal tax dollars were ever used, and most of the rehabilitation work was financed by the sale of dead but still valuable timber. Today, just 65 years after the fires, the Tillamook Forest represents one of the most extensive networks of diverse habitat for deer, elk, birds, fish, and plant life anywhere in the United States. The Tillamook State Forest consists of 364,000 acres and now provides a broad array of recreational opportunities with its extensive trail system, viewpoints, and 8 state park campgrounds. In terms of recreation, it's invaluable. Because the restoration effort used sound management principles, the new forest is expected to return over $2 billion in revenue from its original planting. In the past 10 years, over 50 million acres of land has burned, much of it prime forest land with ecological and economic value. These acres represent billions of board feet of dead timber worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Tens of thousands of jobs could have been created to remove, truck, and mill this dead material, and many more jobs could have been created in addressing the rehabilitation of the burned landscapes. The dead and down timber that currently lies on the forest floor from our most recent fires represents a wasting opportunity. This revenue could have a tremendously positive impact on our local governments and schools. In 2000, the world consumption of timber was 1.5 billion cubic meters. By 2045, that demand will increase by 60%. With prudent and balanced management of these burned landscapes, the United States could help meet this demand. If we don't utilize this dead material, there will be an increased pressure to harvest green living trees. Why not take advantage of these dead trees instead? And why is it that there is very little effort, if any, to do this? It's because there's not enough recognition in our federal rules or regulations distinguishing these burned landscapes from a normal, healthy forest environment. In order to achieve this, federal rules must be changed. The federal process, in fact, prevents the quick removal of dead trees and the steps necessary for the rapid rehabilitation of the burned landscape. It is imperative that action be taken quickly to allow the recovery of dead trees before they become worthless. By the time recovery plans are approved, most of the timber value has been lost. The Healthy Forests Restoration Act is an important step towards addressing the issue of fuel buildup before a fire. However, the Act does not address the rehabilitation of our federal lands after a devastating fire occurs. We need to change the federal rules now to allow the quick recovery of these dead landscapes. There are two very distinct choices to manage burned forests after large, devastating fires. One choice is to do nothing. It creates no economic benefits and delays, sometimes for generations, the recovery of the affected landscape. Complacency leaves an austere and desolate landscape of perpetuating brush fields, increasing fire hazards, and lost opportunities for future generations. The other choice creates jobs, produces commodities, and generates a tremendous amount of community involvement. In addition, it expedites the process of environmental healing and saves decades of time in the return to a healthy, growing forest. Taking action today will leave a legacy for future generations, a landscape of abundant forests that give back recreation, healthy wildlife habitats, and opportunities for growing families in our communities. Let's remove the burned dead trees and create revenue that will pay for the full restoration of these forests for our future generations. At the same time, it will create jobs that will sustain the economy in our local communities. These forests don't belong to environmental activists, or the timber industry, or the agencies that manage them. These forests belong to all of us. I invite you to join Communities for Healthy Forests. Be part of the solution in our efforts to improve our future.